Before coming to Greece, I had very limited knowledge about Athens and even Greece as a whole. Most of my knowledge came from the Percy Jackson and Olympian series, along with Greek mythology that I had learned at school. In preparation for this trip, we had many cultural and historical readings. We also watched the classic Greek movie, Zorba the Greek. This continued into more and more facts about Greece. There is so much history that it felt very overwhelming and impersonal. All of the information seemed to blur together. After arriving, we were given a better context to the history that we had been reading about by going to historical sites such as the Greek Agora and the Acropolis. Seeing these sites in person helped the city to feel more relevant to me. But this was only the start of me being able to read the city of Athens. Layers were being revealed, but it was still not enough. A more modern, everyday concept of city life was shown to me as I looked around the meat market, the fish market, and the fruit and veggie market. However, I still needed to work on finding my way through the city. It is very typical of me to get lost anywhere I go. Even if I was not technically lost when I would wander throughout Athens within our large group, I was still lost in the sense that I knew nothing about where I was. Anytime I recognized a landmark, a street name, or knew how to get somewhere on my own, I felt a thrill of happiness because I knew I was becoming a part of the city. This didn't feel like enough though, because I was still seeing the city as a whole without noticing the fragments. It wasn't until we started doing our walkabouts when I began to recognize the layers and individual pieces of Athens. I finally got to walk around the city without an agenda, without needing a quick pace, and I could just stop. This gave me a chance to view the city piece by piece. No longer was I rushed to get to my next location. My only goal was to blend in and observe. I was able to absorb so much more of the city this way. My perception of the city was broadened, yet more focused. I saw so much of the city that I would have walked by without a glance beforehand. It really showed me how much I take for granted and what I might be missing in my own city. I realized that I had started reading through the layers of Athens from the very beginning when I had to do so much historical reading. At that point, I just hadn't known how to apply it in reading the city or realized that I was uncovering a layer of Athens. Through my walkabouts, I observed the advantages between the others and the natives' ability to observe in the city. I have had the odd role of being in between those two characters as I move from one to the other. My home perspective allows me to compare what I see in Athens to my own city. These differences between cities show me more than what I would have observed in the city by itself. What I have noticed from the native perspective is the ability to notice the differences of the city over periods of time because they have lived in this place their whole lives. This is something that I have tried to implement on a week-by-week basis. I feel like both perspectives can be united to show an even more complete reading of the city. Instead of being swept away in the crowd, I have gained a new control when walking through the city. This newfound ability to observe is something that has stayed with me as I move throughout Athens. I have become a part of the city and the city a part of me. If someone were to ask me, "Apo puise," I feel I could confidently answer, "Ime apo tin Athena," because I have collected these fragments that allow me to keep my own piece of Athens. This course has taught me a lot about the city of Athens. Flanerie is something that can be brought to my own city and every city that I have yet to see.